It's the connection problem today. It's really bad.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay,
All right.
awesome.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, no, and sorry about the other day.
No, you're all right. Don't worry. Hello, good afternoon, guys, and welcome to Crossroads. We have got two people today. We've got, sorry, two friends of mine, not people. They're never people with me. We've got Stacey on now. Then later on, we've got Danny, and I've had Stacey on several times now. She's part of the furniture here, at Crossroads. So anyway, Stacey, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How about you, Steve?
I'm all right. Yes, I'm calming down now. I'm calming down. I've been
Okay, that's
trying.
a good thing.
I've been trying to sort my accounts out today from the club that I help out with, and sometimes it gives you an headache. So
Sure.
I'm okay now. Why? Why I want to talk to you again? Um, because people say to me, "Oh, get Stacey back, get Stacey back." So that's why we do it. And you probably think, hmm, what? I've told him everything about me. I told him, but there is a great big thing. There is a great big history about you that we want to share because not only you do kind of like martial arts and everything else like that, but you're into women's empowerment and everything.
That's
You
right.
know, explain to everybody what you do about women's empowerment.
Okay, so I am a martial artist. I've been doing martial arts for training, oh my gosh, for many, many years. And I do teach as well the Chinese martial arts of Tai Chi and Wing Chun. And I can almost tie that into the women's empowerment, how that came about, because I do coaching and all this training too, because the thing is, in martial arts, you develop yourself from the inside out, especially in these particular arts. So it's not just kicking and punching, but you're learning so much about yourself and developing yourself as a person. So some of the coolest discoveries I find in martial arts to hone your skills and become really efficient at techniques and skill and strategies all apply to your everyday life as well. So it's very fascinating. And going into the women's empowerment, it's the same idea. There are, a certain amount of, say, I can almost put them in 7 categories of things that you need to master and become the warrior in your life for yourself, for your own happiness and the success and having an ultimate life for yourself. um, and it all starts with the conquering your mind. And this
Yeah,
sounds simplistic, but it's not so easy.
I've got some stuff here about women's empowerment, about being social, being educational, being academic,
Yes.
political,
Right.
and it's like the 5 types of female empowerment, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, females are so unbelievable in our society today. The female contributes so much to everything. Oh my goodness. And of course the males do as well. This is we are um the people who make the world what it is, okay, all of us. So we don't want to underestimate, and I think we don't as much now, the power that and contributions that women can make in this world. So, because women, you find them in every walk of life excelling. And just recently in the Olympics, women winning things that they've never won before. Um, and competing in different things. So it's really exciting. It's an exciting time. And yet we have a lot of growing to do too. There are a lot of things that I like to bring to people's attention in ways that they can help with empowerment of women. One of my favorite subjects, sadly, in this regard, is the subject of domestic abuse and human trafficking. Those are
Yeah,
huge
yeah,
issues today, and people tend to not really pay attention to what's going on if it hasn't affected them or someone they know. They just are kind of oblivious to it. So these are things that need a lot of support. But getting back to my coaching and everything, that I draw from a lot of things from martial arts equivalents that apply in our everyday life, starting with controlling your mind, because your mind is very powerful. I had someone tell me one time that they couldn't control their reactions to how other people were acting around them, because um, it was just an automatic reaction when people would say something, that would irritate them or whatever. And, this is a very huge challenge for people to understand that you don't have to be affected by things around you. You are in control of your mind, and that includes control of your words and everything that comes out of your mouth.
yeah.
So,
So true. Because the trouble is, by the way, the next time when we have you on, that's what I want to talk about: domestic abuse
okay,
and human trafficking, because that is a big subject that we have on here that we want to discuss to you about.
very,
Um,
very.
but in the meantime, what I want to ask you is this: what makes a woman empowered?
Empowerment is really having the freedom to do and choose to do what you want to do with your life, basically. And this again begins with a mindset. A lot of people are not empowered because they have self limited, their own mind. They've put the limitations on themselves. I can't achieve this, or I can't do that, or I'm not good at this, or there's no way I can do that kind of thing. So it's very much to do with your attitude and your mindset. Think about people that are so famous, for their achievements that came out of, you know, tremendous challenges. People like, say, J.K. Rowling's writer, mother, she was at home, right? She was by herself, did
Yeah, yeah.
tremendous things on her own. Oprah Winfrey is a tremendous example of things that a woman can achieve, overcoming unbelievable obstacles. And Oprah is one of the wealthiest women persons in this world today. So she's a tremendous example of a person who is genuinely a really good person, supporting of women, and of all people of any walk of life. And
Mm.
like I said, overcame a lot of obstacles to become a tremendous success and live an ultimate life. This comes from inside, and that's true empowerment of not believing that I can't do this, or someone's stopping me from doing that. This is the wrong mindset if you want to be empowered.
The
And
trouble is, so the trouble
it's
is, so Stacey. Sorry
yeah,
for sorry for butting in, but the trouble is when you're in a relationship, especially domestic relationships, and when you're being abused, sometimes it's kind of really hard, isn't it, to kind of like be empowered, really, because you're being controlled by the man.
that's true. So here, and there's such a tremendous need for women to understand that they can survive. Okay, they can survive, and they can let go of that abuse. That's that's indeed the most difficult part, because in those relationships oftentimes there's kind of a cycle that goes around between the two, and it's very difficult for the woman to break from, and the man has, in a lot of those cases, has convinced them that they are useless and hopeless and they can't survive on their own, and and no one would want them, and this kind of thing.
Mm.
So one of the most important things we can do for women today, raising our girls, there's a couple of different things. One is, I truly believe that, and this goes back to applying toward the trafficking as well, that all children, that includes boys too, should all have training in martial arts, because everyone today needs to know how to defend themselves. Secondly, when in the case of the domestic abuse, I think women and our children, all of our children, because there are boys that are abused too, um, but or men, I should say, by their wives. So there, it's very important that we get more serious about education of what a healthy relationship is entails, so that people can cut those relationships off early before they get too entangled in them. And then if you've really mastered your own self-empowerment before you get to that kind of relationship, you won't put up with it because
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
already empowered. Okay. So this is very important, the education of people from a young age, that they don't accept that kind of control or abusiveness, early in life.
yeah. How does women's empowerment contribute to gender equality?
I think it contributes a lot. Although in real terms, I mean, we are not totally equal. In that, just physically, let's say that um, men have stronger muscle than women. It's not that we can't be very extremely strong, but our bodies are different, and I think it's important um, not to hide the fact or pretend it doesn't exist, that there are differences between men and women. I mean, that's part of the complementary uh, situation that we have in that union of a man and woman, is they're different and they complement each other. So but the equality in terms of working and our brain power of, can there be a man who is a wonderful brain surgeon, and can a woman do that kind of thing too? Can she be as good as the man? Of course she can. These things um, are, and empowerment is partially, in believing in yourself. Like I said, the mindset is very,
Yeah.
very important, because if you don't have the mindset, you're never going to try. You're never going to go forward. When I was young, um, and maybe, my parents were a little bit forward thinking in that way, but a little bit earlier than that, it was very, very typical for parents to not care if their daughters went to school. I mean, furthered their education in college. They just were more concerned about the boys doing that. So, things have changed, and we see that every day in our society, that, women are much more empowered. They're believing in themselves, their abilities to achieve great things. And it's just a matter of, all people supporting each other. Um, it's really important today when you think about a lot of the issues when you talk about domestic abuse or bullying in school when kids are young. Um, and, girls can be the worst. Girls can be very cruel to each other when they're young, mocking each other's appearance, or if they're one person isn't dressed as well as another friend, then they don't want to allow them in the group. This stuff has to be, we need a lot of education to train our girls from when they're young to be supportive, to build each other, to love each other, to make the world a better place. And this is what empowers all of us. not just women, but everyone in the end, because we all affect each other.
Yeah. And the trouble is with kind of like, um, men also, as men, sometimes I want to touch this later on in that our next chat that we have in next month. But about being abused, we the trouble is, so women now are so used to being controlled by men, and the trouble is, but there's also now it's a big turnaround where women are saying, no, I'm not having this. I will go to work, I will do this, and when things do happen, they just don't sit on their laurels all the time. They go out and do things, and that is really good, isn't it?
Well, it can be. And here's the thing that you have to remember. So if you're in a marriage or a partnership, you need to honor that partnership and you need to make decisions together. And that means that the men need to be educated too when they're young. This needs to start from a young age. Fathers play a big role in that, in teaching their sons how to have a good relationship with their spouse or their partner, how to work together toward solutions, careers, passions, and uh, the desire to have an ultimate life, and a balanced and empowered life. So, good family, you know what I mean? Good health. Um, like I said, following those passions, but keeping everything in balance. It's very important that um, people are able to work together as a team. And that's what makes everything that much better.
Okay, so why is empowering girls and women so important?
I think it's because, again, that women still are not always encouraged to do more or be more, to be the best they can be, um, which I think is still very sad. That you know, a lot of times the and this goes back to education of the parents from when they were young, of understanding that women have a lot to contribute to our society. They're wonderful, wonderful parents and contributors to our society as a whole. So it's important that all this is passed from parents to children so that they can encourage their children to be the most they can be. Now, the education in yourself, uh, especially when you become an adult. Okay, we all know the stories about how people will feel like, hey, my parents didn't encourage me, and or they didn't they didn't support me in the way I wish they would have. Well, like I said, we have so many examples of people who came from nothing and became tremendous successes in their lives. So it's very important to understand that that mindset is all important, and that once you conquer your own mind and empowered yourself through the way your mind works, your mindset, and your attitudes, you're able to achieve anything that you can imagine. And this is the greatest way you can empower not only yourself, but you empower others by your example and your inspiration.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Um, just a last question. If How do we kind of control, not control, but see, there's a big word out. See, sorry, I'll get tongue tied now. Without empowering, it comes a lot of self worth too. Being worth something, don't they? Women want to be worth something. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, with the self worth.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and here's the thing. Like I said, especially with women. Okay, so women have that history of having the little bit of that lower self worth because For a long time, parents didn't focus on the development of their daughters, only the sons. And of course, that's changing. It's changed a lot, but I still feel that we have a long way to go. And so it's very important. I'll tell you, one of the most unbelievable things I see that is so sad is that in terms of women's empowerment, okay, men play a big role because they're very influential, but women to women is so critical. If you are a woman, you are a girl, and you are not supporting your sisters, I can't tell you how sad that is, because every every one of us need to support each other, build each other, don't tear each other down. And I see a lot of this. I can't tell you how
Yes.
many times I'll
Yeah.
be coaching someone and they'll be telling me something about some girl and calling that woman names like
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
no idea. I'm
Yeah.
like, or they're mocking them, or they
Yeah.
mock them to their face. Well, you're
Yeah.
just tearing your sisters down. What in the world are you doing? This is this is the worst kind of treatment that one woman can give to another. And
Totally agree.
I'm not talking about being phony either. I'm talking about real love and support. Part of that, though, comes from being able to love yourself. If you can't love yourself, it's very difficult to love others. So then you start tearing down others to build yourself up. This is a very sad situation. If you're tearing other women down, you may have a problem with your own self worth.
Yeah.
And the
And
best
that's
I can tell you is that there's so much help out there in terms of helping you to understand your true self worth. And it all begins with changing your mindset. Your mindset is not fixed. You have to remember that you control your mind doesn't control you. Let me say
yeah.
that again. You control your mind. Your mind doesn't control you. So when your subconscious starts telling you, "Hey, you always mess up. Hey, you can't do it. You'll never be able to do that." You got to shut that down. You have to shut it
Yeah.
down because you're the one in control of your thought processes.
Totally right. And before I finish, I want to say this: that women's women's empowerment can be defined to promoting women's sense of self worth, their ability to determine their own choices, and their right to influence
That's
social
right.
change to themselves and others.
Yeah.
So,
Very, very good.
and all I can say to is everybody, we live in a world, in a nasty world, and and we've been going through things together with the coronavirus, and I believe that we're all sisters and brothers on earth, and we all should come together, and get on instead of fighting against each other, doing all sorts of things to each other, nasty things.
Yeah.
And that's what I believe in. Stacey, it's we live in a world where, you know, I hope one day that we can have change.
That's right. And that's one of the most beautiful things about your podcast is the beginning where you've got on there, be kind.
Yeah,
Of that, because that is what it's all about, is how can you serve others, how can you help others, how can you find your passion, be the best you that you can be, and that's going to include serving your fellow brothers and sisters, living an ultimate life of empowerment for yourself and helping others do the same.
yeah, and that's it. Stacey, so thank you so much for coming back on.
You're so
I
welcome. My
I
pleasure.
re-
Thank you for inviting me.
I always look forward to having you on. And next time, what I really want to talk about is domestic abuse and sex trafficking and stuff like that, because I know that I remember an interview a while back, we started talking about that, and it's a big subject for
Yes.
you. I know that you care about that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve. You have a wonderful day.
And you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.